there, and welcome to another edition of Hanging Out with Nolan Hong. I'm your host, Nolan Hong, and we are, as always, recording in the Pop Creative Media Studios here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and flanked by my co-host, Dr. Emmett Bean, the Doctor of Snugglenomics, and my super producer extraordinaire, Jamie. And today, we have the pleasure of interviewing my dear close friend, Steph Sanchez. We've been attached at the hip for many, many, many years in the acting world, where we played a boyfriend and girlfriend in a traveling theater show, and we've become such close friends that we actually feel like family. And I always refer to her as my sister, and she refers to me as her brother. And she has such an interesting and amazing story. She experienced a lot of success here locally in acting. I mean, you would see her everywhere, whether it be on stage with Lisa Matsumoto's plays and her iconic roles there. You'd also see her on tons of TV commercials. You'd see her on national TV shows. And she also had several local television shows on OC16, and you'd hear her voice on all these radio commercials. I mean, she was probably the hardest working local actor that there was back in, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And then she decided to take her talents to Hollywood, and she moved up to LA to pursue her acting career. And as we will hear in this interview, things kind of changed, and it got very interesting. And she'll share with you what happened when she moved up to LA. She has since moved back. It's been about 2 years since she moved back to Hawaii. And she just recently got back into acting after a nice long hiatus. And that's where we'll pick up this interview, when she moved to LA and what happened there. So hope you enjoy. Here's our interview with Stephanie Sanchez.
Since I left for LA, I haven't performed.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. When I got to LA, that was one thing where I was like, you know what? I'm going to perform, and that's going to be something that I want to do. But as I started to audition and as I started to just be there, I knew I wasn't strong enough. I knew I wasn't going to be the person who will live in their car until I made it. And I also knew that it wasn't, whenever I would go for auditions, you already get that I'm worthless already. Like, you know, you go to auditions and it's hard, it's tough, because these people don't give a shit about you. They don't give a crap about you. So you go in there and you have all this confidence, but then afterwards you're just like, I don't think I'm made for this. And for me, it was okay. I moved up there with Noel and Natalie, who are my best friends in the world, and that was the only way I was going to move up there, because, you know, they always say that people from Hawaii, give them 3 months and they'll move back home. Because it's tough. Like, you're living on your own, you don't know anyone there, and you're trying to make it. And I think if you do move there on your own, you're not. It's hard. And especially coming from Hawaii, everything's so family. Everyone's in your business. Mm-hmm. So everything is, you have support, you have people. And the community here in terms of acting and production, and they're family. I mean, I still, you know, the people that I've known for years now are still here, and they're still kicking, and they're still creating, and they're still doing things. But when you go there, if you don't know anyone, or if you don't, it's just harder. So for me, I was like, you know what? Well, that's fine. I wanted to do production. So I had a friend who was doing costuming. So the three of us didn't have jobs when we first got there. And we just started saying, you know, we'll do whatever. And so our friend 300 had just come out. Mm-hmm. And so the History Channel was doing like this 300 remake. So she was like, hey, you guys want to do costuming? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, you know, we're on the Quixote studios, and some like famous people are filming over there, and we're over here dressing dudes in things. And, you know, it was funny because it was just running around set like, safety pins, oh, got it. And it was basically safety pinning these guys who were fighting and stuff, and like trying to get, it was fun. It was good. And that was our like behind the scenes stuff. So we're like, you know what, we could do whatever behind the scenes. And then in LA, we kind of just took over this ad agency. Natalie and it all started with a Craigslist for a stage managing position. And Natalie answered that, and she got it. And the people who were doing that play, the woman she met through that was the creative director at an ad agency. And she was like, oh, do you want to help out with our ad agency? And so Natalie's like, sure. So she started off in like wardrobe, but like in 2 months, she became like seriously the GM of the advertising company because it's different there. Like Hawaii people will work hard.
Yeah.
Like you put, like if we want, we'll do whatever it takes to get things done. And I think, LA is very much, why are there so many people in Starbucks on their computer? What are they doing? Don't they have jobs? What are they doing?
That's interesting though, because they all say like, oh, the pace in the mainland is so much faster than here. So you would assume like that's because they're working harder and things like that.
No, everyone's at Starbucks, drinking their lattes, taking calls, quote unquote. I don't know what they're doing there, but there's a lot of people at Starbucks. I'm like, how does anyone make money here? And maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just at it. I don't know. Just hanging out there making money, whatever they're doing. And I think that's LA. Whatever you can get your hands on in some sort of aspect, that's what you're going to do. And I mean, for us, it was just like, yeah, okay. So Natalie became the GM. She's like, hey, do you want to produce commercials? Sure. So then I jumped on board. And then Noel became client services. And so now we're all working at this ad agency. And we're filming Ashley Furniture home store commercials. So, it was a fun experience. I mean, we were on set. We did, painting sets and going from there to producing commercials to creating commercials for clients across the U.S., Canada, booking voiceover talent for like, Spanish ads and whatever we had. Yeah, it was an interesting time. We worked for, and that was the one thing I noticed too in LA is there are a lot of companies that start up and the people who own them are millionaires and somehow they've made it that way, but they're crazy. They're insane.
Like how?
I had an insane boss, and I'm sure if you had read any of my Facebook posts while I was there, this guy was insane. He would never come to the office, but it was his company. He would yell at you over the phone and yell at our clients, but they would still work with him. I would hear stories that if you visited him, he would be like, no shirt, just eating with his hands, slobbering all over the place. Like he was a weird man.
What was his background? Like, how old was he? What ethnicity?
He was late 40s, 50s, and he was Jewish. He wasn't loved by his mother. I know this much. He had issues with women, but he figured he could buy their love.
And wasn't he in a band or something like that?
He thought he was a musical genius.
Right.
So once he got, his millions and he started this company, he was like, I'm going to get into the music industry. So he started hanging out with rap stars or people who were rappers. And so he would hang out in the studios with rappers, and then he would change the way he would look and like try to be cool. He was a very interesting guy. And, he would always hire these women who would come out of nowhere. And I'm like, what am I paying her for? What is she? It's like, oh, so I had a folder that said his name, Tarts, like, we'll just say Jason's Tarts. And then I would put that in as like, oh, we're paying her $150. I'm not sure what she's done, but that's what we're doing. Yeah. It was a constant struggle. Is there swearing allowed?
Yes.
Okay. So there's this one story where we had like a call center going on, and one guy was talking to him on the phone because that's the only way that you would talk to him. And he was like, and I can hear the guy on the phone saying, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Stop yelling. Stop yelling. And this guy's a big guy. He's like, you need to stop yelling. And all of a sudden, he yells, you want to with me? I will you up because I'm a bad mother. And like he hung up the phone, and everybody on the call, like there was like at least 20 people, and they were in the middle of calls, and they were like, hold please. And like everything went silent. Like once he was like, I'm a bad mother, I will F you up. And then like silence, and then you hear him go, I'm all right, guys. I'm like, oh my God. So that happened. And then they would go back on their calls. So anyway, yeah. You know, it was, but I can only imagine that that's one company in LA where, the amount of stories, and this man was a horrible man. Like, one girl, she got pregnant and we were like, yay! And he found out and he said, when are you going to get an abortion? He actually asked her that.
Wow.
I'll have things you can get sued over, Alex.
Where's the HR department for that?
We didn't have one. There was no hand.
Yeah.
Like, these are startup companies that have no... Yeah. It was just that way. If I hired someone new, he had one guy who would tell him about it, and it happened. The only time I met him was because he wanted to see what a girl looked like. And that was he, and then he invited the entire office to dinner.
Oh, so you like never even? He's kind of like the guy, and he's like Oz. He's behind.
He's behind that curtain. But what I understood was once he met you, he could never be that guy who is constantly yelling at you and constantly berating you.
Oh, so he only could do it from behind the phone.
Yes, and I think that was why it was okay for him.
Huh?
Because you could just threaten everybody. But yeah, there are numerous times, and I'm still dealing with him and like in his whole thing. But yeah.
Because when did you? Because you worked there for what? 4 years?
I worked there for 5 years. And everyone's like, why aren't you leaving? And I'm like, because the stories are just too much. And I don't have a boss here.
That's true, because he's never there,
He's
right?
not in the office. Mm-hmm. And as time went on, he stepped away from the office. Like, he didn't even call, like, every 5 seconds asking for something. He was trying to be a music mogul. And, like, I thought it was funny because I always compared him as a cross between Ben Stiller and Phil Spector. He looked like that. And like I thought, and LA is just full of people like that.
So whatever happened to him? Like, so
he died.
What?
He died, yeah. No, he had a heart attack, like a massive heart attack, and passed away.
Whoa.
And he was only like 52.
This is the craziest story.
Never did drugs, never drank alcohol.
Wow.
He just would be up all night, every night. And I never gave him my personal cell phone. Uh-huh. He'd always ask for it, and I never gave it to him because I know him to call people at 3 o'clock in the morning.
How would you avoid giving it to? Would you?
I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll put that in an email. Yeah, I got you. And then I would never do it. You don't have to call me.
Yeah.
When I'm not here. If I'm not here, I don't exist. Which is, you have people where if you're a personal assistant, you have that personality 24/7. Mm-hmm. You've seen those reality shows.
So did you leave the company before he passed away? Or?
No. They sold a portion of it, and then it went to his, I would say his baby mama, because he left it for his child. So then it became an estate.
Oh.
I don't even know if I should legally be talking about that. Well, I haven't mentioned any names, so it's fine.
Yeah. This Jason guy.
Yeah, Jason. And so, so she in turn, see, now that's another story. And this is something that I laugh because the boss above me, I loved him and I would do anything for him. He was the one that actually hired me. And we laugh about this because we're like, the stories that we could tell about this whole thing, this whole company, this whole thing, it would be a great movie. So he met this woman who, I can't even say porn star. She's not even a star. I think she did porn. I don't even think she was a star. It was just...
She dabbled in porn.
Yeah, I don't even... Again, I'm sure there was a lot of screwing. I don't, So he picked her up in his Porsche on the side of the road somewhere in Malibu or whatever. I don't even know, Santa Monica. And they started something. And she basically, as they went on, she basically told him, I want a child. If you don't give me a child, I'm leaving.
Wow.
This would ensure that she would be in charge of millions. His greatest fear was to leave his daughter with her. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh, no way.
So now she's in charge of his estate.
Wow.
And as soon as he passed away, she had her boyfriend, like all of a sudden she had a boyfriend who was this really schmarmy, intelligent, but he knew he was intelligent, lawyer boyfriend come in and just, you know, kind of like made sure that everything was going the way that it was supposed to. Like it's amazing. Now I'm talking all kinds of crazy crap about this guy. The one thing that I will say that I admired about him, he was actually a good father, which I never would have thought.
Yeah, based on the description.
He treated women like
just
horribly, and I think it was because he was never loved as a child from his parents, but he treated his daughter like she was his world, which she was.
That's crazy.
But it's so bizarre.
And how did he get his millions to begin with?
He bought a whole bunch of 1-800 numbers.
What?
Yeah, he bought a whole bunch.
You can't make this stuff up.
And you can't buy those anymore. So and each number can bring in, like this guy's basically worth, I would say, easy. I mean, when you add everything up, they're like 20 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gee, so he just bought up all these 800 numbers and...
He was already rich. I think his family was rich, so he had money, but at the same time he was... you know what, though? He worked in sales. So, I don't know if he had all this money beforehand, but as he started to do stuff and he started to do real estate, too, and then he bought up all these 1-800 numbers, and that's how it started.
What an interesting guy.
Yeah. Very interesting. That's who you would meet in LA because you never. And that's how I got into cars, cash for cars. Yeah.
What?
I know all about cars and buying them, and yeah, it's so funny because it's like I've lived 10 lives in various different ways. Like so, I started buying cars. I started working. Yeah, I started buying cars and then working for a company that would flip them. So we would buy junk cars for $50 and flip them for like $700. And I would get commissions on that. Like, and it's a bizarre, like nobody knows that world exists.
Yeah.
You know? And then, and now I'm here. Yeah, it's a weird, but LA was great. It was a fun experience. And I wish I hadn't, there were times when I moved back and then I'm like, I wish I was still there. But
well, why did you move back?
To be with my family. You know, they're not getting any younger, and you notice that about your parents.
Yeah.
When you haven't seen them for a while, you have this image in your mind of what they look like and what they will always look like, and then when you come home and you're like, they're not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much time I have with them. And I think even I was always going to come home, but I thought it was going to be later. So, but yeah, I think LA, what turned out to be me wanting to be an actor and me wanting to do that, I think it also was me wanting to be free of here. Growing up local, growing up here, you have a sense of family. And everyone's really close. There's always someone around. There's always someone in the house. There's always people visiting. There's always... Your business is everyone's business. So I think for me, it was... I wanted to see if I could do it on my own, I think.
Which is so interesting because when you were here, I would say that you were probably the busiest actress here locally because you were involved in everything, whether it be national television, you had your own local TV shows, like you had several series that you did.
Yeah.
You're on stage all the time. I mean, you were everywhere, voiceovers, everything. So for you to say, like, you wonder if you could make it on your own, it seemed like you were like the most self-made actress here at the time.
I would like to say that, yes, I was. But no, it was... The reason I was where I was at was because of the community. And yeah, I had talents, but there were so many people who were like, creative in their own. I mean, we had Lisa Matsumoto, who I will always and forever be grateful for and love. And, and that was the one person I thought that, oh, well, if I go to LA and I don't make it, I can always come back because there's got to be another time going on somewhere or happily going on. It'll always be here. So I've got that. There was always something to come back home to. And the people that I met was because of what I had done locally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wasn't really self-made. Yes, I thought, yeah, okay, I'm talented, I can do this. But if I didn't go to LA and try it out, I would never know. Like, I wouldn't know if that was it. And you know what? I chickened out. I chickened out when I got there, but at the same time, I'm okay with that. Because what I gained was anonymity. Is that weird? I gained just me being someone who's on my own or like just trying to make it, like, and nobody knows me. And that was fine for a while. And when I left, there were certain things that I needed to come to grips with too, I think. I mean, again, I was gay, but I couldn't tell anyone.
Here?
Before I left.
And
I could tell my friends. My friends are fine. Like, we're in theater. Everyone's gay or whatever. They dabble. But my family, that was somebody that I didn't want to... You don't want to embarrass. You don't want anything negative. You don't want them to hear anything negative. So, and at the time, being gay was so not the biz. It wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you grow up in a small community and, growing up Filipino Catholic or whatever, you grow up in this and that was never an option. You grow up, you get married, you have kids. That was what you did. That's what people do. But that wasn't for me. And I didn't want my parents to have to deal with anything or anyone saying that. So I kind of was like, well, I can be an actress, but if I took a gay role, then it's just a role. So it's okay because it's a role,
Right.
But it was hard. I couldn't be myself here completely and fully.
Did you feel like, did you have any experiences within the family that maybe another family member was gay and they had created, some kind of hardships through that and that's what made you worried about it?
Well, I don't know. I did have a brother that, he was gay, but then he didn't know that. Like, and my family was, he was gay, but my family was fine with him. But for me, I was like the golden child in my mind that I needed to be everything and anything I could for my parents to be proud. So for him, it was fine. Whatever he wanted to do, what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But for me, I needed to be the golden child. I needed to succeed in whatever I did, and I needed to be that person that would never bring shame to the family, But, and it was so funny because it never occurred to me that they would be okay with it. So in leaving, part of the reason why I wanted to leave too is because there wasn't really that much of a scene here either. Like, so I didn't know. I had a lot of gay guy friends, so I didn't know a lot, So going to LA, that was just like different. Mm-hmm. They have WeHo, they have West Hollywood, where and that's where I kind of was like, I found friends and I found other people like me, and it was okay. And I was far away from home, so I didn't have to deal with anything. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I needed to find myself. Yeah. That was the main thing. No matter what I did. And the funny thing is my parents I finally told my parents. But I'm the kid who, like, if I smoked cigarettes, like, I can't smoke in front of my parents. Like, even in my 30s. Like, no way. What, is my dad there? Like, I can't. Don't smoke cigarettes.
Is that because they're very strict growing up?
No. You know what's really funny? Like, I mean, if you did something wrong, you got the belt.
Right.
Which is classic. They're not strict. They're awesome parents. Huh. They really were. And it might have been my mom was afraid to just don't tell my dad.
And why is that?
Well, you don't want to upset Dad. Don't upset Dad. He's, focused on taking care of the family. You don't want to upset him. So if I did anything out of line and my mom knew about it, don't tell your father. He doesn't need to know. So, yeah, like that was the thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that was, I'm like, well, they don't need to know. They don't need to know that I'm gay. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And it was funny because it kind of came down to the point where they had visited me in LA and I was having issues in a relationship. And it was the funniest thing because I became an angsty teenager, and I'm in my 30s now, right? Mm-hmm. And they visited me, and my dad was like, I want to go to the Dodgers game, and my dad loves the Dodgers. But I had gone to the Dodgers, and I was like, no, I don't want to go. I've got things, and mm-hmm. I was being the angsty teenager that I remember being, and I was thinking, God, how did my parents survive teenager? Like, how do parents survive teenagers? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I went back to that. And so I had all this, I was like, no, and I can't talk to you. You don't understand. Oh. And so finally my dad one morning, as they were visiting me again in LA, and he sat me down and he's like, Steph, you got to tell us what's wrong. Like, what's going on? And I was like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, nothing's wrong. And he's like, no, there's something wrong and you're not telling us. So what is it? And I had told my mom before that I thought it was gay, but that was in my 20s, and she was like, you don't know. You don't know what you want. You're too young. So when this happened, I looked at my mom, and my mom was like eyes wide open, like, okay, so this is happening. And then I looked at my dad, and I said, Dad, I'm gay. And he looked at me, and he was like, is that it? Oh, man. I thought you was on drugs. I thought you was in debt. Why? Steph, me and your mom, we pretty liberal. and that has been, that my dad has always been that. My mm-hmm. dad has always been that guy. But that wasn't something I could share. And then after that, it was just like, well. And you don't really think about the weight that is on you. And everyone talks about that, but if there's something that you can't share with the people that you love the most, mm-hmm. it does something to you, and you don't realize that it's there because you've ignored it and you don't have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. But once you've dealt with it, and it's amazing, and again, people don't necessarily get that same reaction.
Right.
Some people aren't lucky enough to get that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got that, I was just like, wow, this could have all been taken care of years ago. You know what I'm saying? And it was fine, and they're fine. And now my parents are my best friends. I'll tell my mom and dad about my Tinder dates. You know what I'm saying? Or because that's so hip right now. Social apps. Yeah. I'll totally tell them all about it. They probably don't want to know, but they'll listen. Yeah. They're like, okay, humor you. Well, all right.
So how did that also affect your relationships with the girls you dated after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's for me. And if I dated someone who wasn't out, I wasn't going to force them because I knew exactly what it was like, and I wasn't going to make them have to deal with it. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I would let them know. I'm like, you know what? If you don't do this, you are going to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And you won't even know that you're holding on to that. So, I don't know. It has changed. It's a good thing. And it's changed because also I've come back home. Mm-hmm. And it's weird, but I can finally feel like I can be myself. Whatever that is, I'm still trying to figure that out too. But I don't have to hide what that part of my life.
Because how long has it been since you've moved home?
2 years. Yeah.
And based on these last 2 years, what would you say is? It's obviously different now, right? So, what's the experience been like now that all these major changes have happened and things like that?
It's just now I'm taking it day by day, and I have like a 9 to 5-er, and at the same time, when I came back, a lot of people knew me as who I was. So they're always like, Steph, let's do this, let's perform, let's do that, and it's taken it's weird because I started to like not respond, or I started to say, you know what, I don't think I can do it, or you know what, I'm busy, because again, it's been a while, and I didn't know if I could do what I did before, so it's taking me like a year to kind of just, all right, this is home, all right, and everybody's here, and I know everyone, and it's okay, and and then another year to kind of be like, well, I guess I can do this. Yeah, so I'm getting back into being creative, and I'm getting back into that. I don't know if I can fully dive right in. Actors, man. Whew. Yeah. I mean, I remember having like a calendar filled with highlighted things I needed to do. Like, you had to use a color for each thing in your life. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, Thursday, this is this show. Wednesday, Friday, this is this show. Saturday, you have this show. So there's always like this highlight, and I don't have the energy. I don't have if I have a 9 to 5er, and I'm like, okay, I work out, I go home, I chill, maybe I'll watch my favorite show. But then now, if you're being creative, it's like, okay, well, we have rehearsal. God, rehearsal. We have to rehearse. And I started doing this improv show at the urging of Roxy on the mic. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's been my friend throughout the years, and she was like, "Hey, you need to do an improv show," and I was like, "No." And I put her out. She actually asked me maybe like a year ago or whatever. I was like, "Yeah, okay, buddy," and then we'll see, And then finally she said, "No, let's do this. We got you and Tina, and whatever you guys want to do, let's do an improv show." And I was like, I don't know if I have the chops. I'm going to have to rehearse because I think I've forgotten everything. And nothing was so apparent when I had come back and Garrick Paikai had asked me, hey, you want to do one night? And I said, sure, I'll do a night of improv. And this was like when I first had gotten back. And then he started naming all these names, which anyone would know. Uh-huh. I'm like, I don't know these. What are we doing again? I remember it sort of, but how? And it was kind of jarring to kind of just jump in and do it.
Right.
And not remember what this was coming from, 8 years ago. I was doing shows with Ray Bumatai, and we were doing shows at Brew Moon and doing improv shows there, and doing a sketch comedy show with him and Andy, and doing that kind of stuff, and really just always practicing your craft.
Yeah.
And that's what made a difference. And then here I am coming in like, I don't know. So I had told her I needed someone that knew improv and that I've worked with before. And so we got Shannon Winpenny involved. So it was me, Christina Uyeno, and Shannon. And I said, Shannon, you need to help me. And Shannon had her own theater here and taught improv to a lot of the people who are doing improv in Hawaii now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you need to teach me like I'm your student. And she hates that. She's like, I'm sorry if I'm being a teacher. It's what I do. And I'm like, no, we need that. I need you to focus me because what are we doing? How does this work? So it was kind of coming out of my comfort zone and doing this show. And I hope people enjoy it, and I hope people come out and watch it. So I'm having a blast. I can never remember what happened in it. And I think there's moments where I'm like, God, that was brilliant. High five, ladies, high five. There are and that's what I missed about improv in LA. Uh-huh. The thing about it was the acting bug never left, but I always wanted to just find some people, like a group. Mm-hmm. Can we just play? Can we just play improv? Can we just do that? But no, it'll cost you $300 to join Second City, or it'll cost you this much dollars to join this group. And I'm like, I don't have money. Why do can I just play with people? Mm-hmm. And nobody does it because everyone's got to make a living. Yeah. Everyone's got to make a living, and you're not going to find people to just be like, yeah, let's just play.
Do you find that you have that kind of desire, the fire starting to kind of burn a little brighter now that you've started to get back into it and whetting the appetite, so to speak? Because you're saying that you came back home and kind of wasn't really there for you yet.
No.
Do you feel like you got it now, or still?
When I came back, I was like, no, this isn't my life.
Yeah,
that's not what I do.
When you came back, it was
it's 8 years now, and I'm adulting. I am no longer playing like a child. I am adulting. I've got to get a 401k. I'm going to retire. I gotta make sure I don't live out in a tent somewhere. I have it now. I have it. Whether or not I can, it's like you're dipping your feet in, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to swim in the shallow for now, But now that I've gotten to work with such creative people, it's like, oh, who else can I create with?
That's cool.
Who else is that? And there's always been, you're never sure of yourself. You're never sure of yourself. And I think it helps when people push you. Because it's so funny, I think a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but at the same time, I'm such an introvert. So it's hard because I don't know what will work. And you always want to be successful, but it's not going to happen. Your failures are going to always be what you learn from, and you're going to continue on from that.
Right.
But I don't want to let other people down. And I think that was always my thing. I just don't want to F up. So, yeah. And I think you need people to push you. You need people to be like, no, let's do this.
It's so funny because people listening who recognize you from like your long list of experience and such would probably have a hard time believing that you're at this point where you had questioned yourself and didn't know if you could do it again and things. But I mean, I kind of went through something similar too, because I didn't stay away from acting as long as you did, but it got to a point where I had left it. Because I do the same thing. I need to get a job and start adulting.
Right? How are we supposed to live in this place, man?
But I noticed that, it's such a part of me being creative and performing things that I felt so depressed not having that, and there's something missing. So then I went seeking out, like, okay, I got to try and get this back. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know if I can do this stuff. I was so scared. And so I reached out to our friend Dion Donahue.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I called him up. I'm like, I don't know if you do this kind of stuff, but would you be willing to coach me in acting? And it was so humbling because he's like, why would you need coaching? You're there already.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, no, you have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I could really use some help. So bless his heart. Like I would meet at his apartment and he'd coach me through doing monologues and all these things. And that's what kind of got me back to where I'm like, okay, I think I can do it. And then I got back into it, and it's been a little easier. I mean, I think, like you said, we'll always question ourselves and things. And
even when you're successful and even when you're doing things, it's like, it doesn't matter. You're a human being. You're always going to question whether or not you're valid.
Mm-hmm.
Am I valid? Am I someone who is worthy enough to speak about something? And I think we all are, and I think we have to trust in that. But yeah, like it's different.
So what was your motivation to get from when you first started acting? What was the reason why you wanted to do it? Because some people, it's an artistic thing. Others, they want to be famous. Like, what was your reasoning to get into acting from the first place?
I mean, the bug bit me when I loved movies growing up. I loved movies. I would go to the movies all the time. Sometimes I would go by myself. In like the 4th, 5th grade, like I would go by myself. 6th grade, I would just sit there in a movie theater and I would do this. A funny story, Beetlejuice. I hope this doesn't age me. Beetlejuice had come out, and well, I should tell you the story before that. When I was 10 years old, my favorite uncle had my cousins and my uncle. They're all from Molokai, so they had come over because it's like a thing to go grab school supplies and whatever. So they were here for school supplies. And it just so happened that Aliens had come out. And I was like 10. I don't even know. Yeah, now I'm aging myself. Great.
You're under 15.
Yeah. I was, there you go. I was under 15. And all my cousins were boys. And so my uncle had asked us, and I remember us, there's certain visual things of your childhood that you remember. And I remember being in the backseat of a car. And he had said, does anybody want to watch Aliens? And my hand shot up so fast. I was like, yes, that is amazing. Yes. And all the boys were like, hell no. No. So it was just me and my uncle. And I remember we went to the Waikiki theaters.
The 1, 2, or 3?
The organ.
Oh.
With the organ. Yeah. So it was there, and I remember sitting down on the seat, and I couldn't reach the floor, and I just remember looking at people around me, and I noticed that there was no kids. And I remember looking at my uncle, and he's like, you gonna be okay? You okay? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And so I remember that, and then I remember as soon as the movie started, my mouth was open the entire time, loving it. It was amazing. There was explosions and comedy and chicks kicking butt. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. and from that, I think, throughout the years, just wanting to be different things, wanting to do different things. And, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not that smart. I mean, I'm smart, but what can I do that will allow me to have the most careers and most jack of all trades? I could do all these things. I've been an astronaut. I've been, and that was acting. And I was like, oh my God, I got to do this. Because as a kid, I was like, what? Never ending story. I want to ride Falcor. I want to be the kid. Fine, beat me up. I'm going to ride Falcor. You wait. Or, Aliens. Hello, Sigourney Weaver. Can we talk? Vasquez. What? There were, and there were things that I wanted to be, and that's why I wanted to be an actor, because I could be whatever.
Once you got into it, did the motivation change ever?
No, once I got into it, it kept going.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this. Being on set was amazing. Creating something like that was amazing. Working on my own show was amazing. Just working with different people and just getting mind blown by their talent and being like, and the fact that you can feed off of these people and create such amazing things. And that's why I wanted to keep going. And that's why I wanted to be, in the industry. And again, I wanted to be in the industry no matter what, whatever that capacity would be. Creating worlds and creating it. I think, it always goes back to when you make a movie, or you create something like that, you're relating to the audience in some way, whether they just don't like their lives right now and you're taking them away, or whether they can relate to what you've said. And it all comes down to human connection, connecting with other human beings. That's the most important thing, I think, because we are all different, but we are all the same.
Going off of that, can you think of a role or project that sticks out in your memories that really did that for you?
Wow.
Or is there a point where you're still, maybe that's what you're still searching for, is to get that kind of experience where you really get what you just described?
You know what? I've had so many experiences like that in my life, and I'm sure that there's more. So I'm always striving to find that again. But I'll go back to it. From when I was in college, I was at UH and I was in theater. And, we're theater students. Mm-hmm. We are the theater students. And I will always remember the first time I saw, quote unquote, a pigeon play. And I believe it was Das How Come when I was in college. And it was written by Lisa. And when I saw that show, I think that was the first time that something local, because to me, I was a theater student. Mm-hmm. Theater was Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It was it was everything. You need...
Bob Fosse.
It was the talents of yesteryear. It was something that you had to strive for. I went to Juilliard, and then I saw Das How Come at UH Manoa, and I was like, what the hell? This is amazing. And that was like, it was Pigeon, but it was like funny, and it was amazing, and it was such an experience with the music and the costumes and there's like 50 people on stage, first of all. And I was like, from then on, I was like, I need to be in one of those shows. I need to do one of those shows. It's amazing. So, but then you realize that if you're in theater, well, I don't know if you could do that because it's Pigeon, and it's different. Like, oh, they don't cast people in the theater department. And I remember that whole thing, and I remember how different it was. Like, really, and so I did get cast. And that was the first time where I understood family in a production with literally 50 people. Mm-hmm. That really was the first time that I felt, wow, this is your family. You've done shows and it was great and it was fun and it was lovely and whatever, but this group, they were special. And I think that creatively, and no matter what, that Lisa always was the person who said, well, she'll create something and then she'll see you do something and then she'll create it out of that. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, you're just going to create that and I can do whatever? Okay. And that's what she did for people. Mm-hmm. And I really think that that's the beginning of what we have on social media today, with everyone doing their sketches of how local life is and how, that's what we had. We didn't have social media. We didn't have 100 million likes and views and whatever. So
right.
We had our theater. We brought it to what masses we could here on the islands. Another time is just, working with Ray Bumatai. He was an amazing artist. Amazing artist. Just collaboratively, like, the people that I got to work with were amazing. Mm-hmm. Locally. And I had just wished that I could do that in the mainland, but I didn't know people. I couldn't, it was different. But I think there's just there's talent everywhere.
And the other thing that I think separates you from a lot of people I've worked with is your dedication and commitment to working so hard at it. Like, I don't think I've ever worked with anyone who puts so much of themselves into the preparation of things. And for some of us, like for myself, I'll admit, like for me, I try to take it as a position of, well, this is fun, but I'm not going to take it too seriously where it kills me, kind of thing, because I think my mind is so, if I go too far into it, I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, you can go retard, but just don't go full retard.
Exactly.
I get you. Yeah.
But I always admired how. I don't think.
Sorry, that was not politically correct. I was
That's
quoting.
A quote, yes.
I was quoting. I didn't say that personally. I just want everyone to know.
The thoughts and opinions of Steph Sanchez are hers only.
Yeah. That's not mine. That was Tropic Thunder. So.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever met anyone else who put so much into her craft, his or her craft. And like you mentioned your calendar. I remember seeing your book of calendar and the different colors and everything. And I would just be like, my gosh, this is amazing how you were able to compartmentalize everything. Because I remember you do 3, 4 different shows at a time. Because we would do these plays for a local health center, and it was an educational roadshow.
Sex ed.
Yes.
Which I think is still important today. That's my PSA.
We might need to come back to that, because actually there's a lot of great stories from that. But
it's good times. Good times.
But so that was every week. We had performances 2-3 times a week, rehearsals every night. And then to know that, the very next night, or you're coming from another rehearsal and such like that. So for you to be able to switch off different characters and different programs and projects, that was insane.
That was fun. And I can't imagine doing it now. Like, and that's what actors are here, like, that's what they do. Like, and I remember, I'm like, oh, look at you, you're so young. I remember doing that. It's like, but, and then you work with people who are like, who had jobs and then they would come to rehearsal at night.
Yeah.
And that was so foreign to me. I'm like, no, I work all day. Like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
And now that's foreign to me. And I'm like, God, I can't. There's no way. I need sleep.
When you were doing that, was it ever difficult as far as like trying to, you're playing so many different characters that, did you ever find it difficult to find like, wait, who am I, me right now? Like,
God, I don't even think I questioned that. I don't think it was a question to me.
Yeah.
It was just,
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But at the same time, maybe I wasn't being true to myself. I don't know. I have no idea. That's a great question. It's a great question, Nolan. Yeah, I mean, because there's so many, that's what I would focus on, the different characters.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I was, it was me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, in a way, maybe, I mean, it could have been that you're still playing a character at home because of your...
I think so. I mean, I think it was easy for me to play whatever I wanted to play because at the same time I wasn't being true to myself. So
right.
That's another thing too, is like I didn't have to deal with certain aspects of my life because I was too damn busy.
Right.
And I had to be other things for other things. Like, and that was fine. I mean, I think that's, as human, we do that a lot. Like, okay, well, I have to be this person for these people, and then I have to be this person for my family, and I have to be this person for, and I think that's how you go through life, until you can slow down and be like, oh, who am I? What am I? Like, and you can, and I had a lot of that in LA. There's a lot of time to be by myself, and I loved it. I mean, some people might be like, I was like, there was a chance I might have, 5 cats if I had lived, 5 cats and lived on my own. Like, oh God, this is it. I'm the cat lady. I had so many friends, people I knew. Yeah, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved being on my own. Like, I was like, I love quiet. It's me and my cat.
Were there any like Hollywood moments that you can remember thinking back, like for those of us here who will never go up to LA and experience that? I know you eventually just went to a normal life and kind of walked away from acting, but in the beginning, were there any experiences or funny stories that maybe you weren't expecting or that shook you or surprised you?
I mean, oh God, do I even remember them? I mean, LA is just so different. And you'll run into whoever you may run into on the streets of LA. Like, I'm at Whole Foods. Oh, look, it's, Natalie Portman. And you see people all the time in LA, and it's just a different place. But it is also very plastic. I think that's very shocking too, because here it's just like, oh, who you are, okay, if we get along, we get along. It's all good, we're family, whatever. But LA it's what do you have? What can you do for me?
Right.
And it is very much like that. But there's also areas you can find where there's people that are amazing, and there are people who don't give a crap about that. But on the surface, it is LA. There's just so many different aspects to it. I really can't even think about shocking.
Did you have any difficulty? Because here, everyone recognizes you as a typical local girl. But up there, did they have a hard time categorizing you into something? Or?
Did you know I'm from Mexico, man? Like, it was so bad. Like, and especially since my last name is, Sanchez. I say it wrong because they say that I'm saying it wrong. I say Sanchez. But no, I would be spoken to all the time. And I'm like, no hablo español. Like, no comprendo. I had neighbors who would, it was funny, like everywhere I would go, Disneyland. One time I made my own home spam musubi, and I was eating them in Disneyland. And this lady came out, she's like, "Oh, where you got spam musubi?" I'm like, "Girl, I made them at home." Yeah, she goes, "Dang!" She walks away. You know, but yeah, like Spanish speaking people would always come up to me and like ask me for direction. I'm assuming the directions because they looked lost. I don't know. I have no idea. But at the same time, I would also embrace it.
Yeah.
You know, I would call where I live my barrio. Like we would have like the tamales lady at like 8:30 in the morning screaming, tamales, tamales. And like as much, I was like, oh, someone just make her stop.
So just buy her a damn tamale.
But at the same time, I wonder if they're really good.
So you never went and got one?
No, well, she would sell it to the other building. I think it was because I had too many, you know, like white people in my building, so she never came over. I was like, why is she not coming over? You know, I had the greatest neighbors, Jose and Maria, who would collect cans. They were an older brother and sister, and they lived in this building that I lived in, and they would collect cans, I swear to God, not 4 in the morning to like seriously 8 at night just to pay rent. And so it was, and they were just amazing people. They had, you know, she had medical issues and he lost his job, but this is how they made their rent, was collecting cans.
Unbelievable.
They had one truck that they would use, and he would go around and collect cans. And I remember my parents coming to visit, and they go to Vegas, and they would come back with like bags of cans. This is for Jose and Maria. I was like, thanks, Mom. Yeah, it's great. You know, got to support.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, but there's all kinds of different people. I remember one lady tried to save my soul. She wrote to me because the thing is with Jehovah's Witness or whoever, they would see my name outside. So they would skip the first one, which was like a white name, like Gamewell. Oh, Sanchez. Gotta get her. So somehow they would come in and they would knock on my door. And I'm like, no, it's not me. I'm not. You go over there. Go to Jose and Maria. I'm sure they'd love to talk to you. You know, and then one woman tried to save my soul, and she wrote a lengthy letter in Espanol. And so I had, at that time, a roommate who actually spoke it. And I was like, oh, read this to me. And then so she read it to me, and it was basically her trying to save my soul. And I was like, oh, gosh, at least someone cares, you know? It's like, mahalo, Maria, for trying. Yeah.
It's funny that you talk about being mistaken or labeled as Spanish.
All the time.
When she was here, we went to a bar kind of by like University of Hawaii or something like that. And there's one time we're just hanging out, and this drunk guy came. I don't know if you remember this story. But I'm excited. This drunk guy came up to us and just started talking to us like we're all friends. And me and Steph are kind of giving the side eye. And he goes, you know what I got to say? Is you look like a Jennifer Lopez. Doesn't she look like a Jennifer Lopez? And we're like, and I was like egging him on, like, you know what? Maybe she is, you know? And she's just like, cut it out, you know? And it got to the point where he was convinced that she was Jennifer Lopez, to where he asked her for her ID, and you had to pull out your driver's license. Like, look, see, my name is not Jennifer Lopez.
Wow, I don't even remember that. Because JLo would be hanging out at University Avenue.
Yeah, you know, in between tours.
Totes with the college kids, just trying to make sure she's relevant. Yeah. No, I don't remember that.
Well, and then we would always, like, for a few weeks, we would always impersonate the guy. Like, hey, you look like a Jennifer Lopez.
That is awesome. Oh, my God.
So it's good to know that carried on to LA as well.
Yeah. I still get JLo here, and it's awesome, you know, and I'm like, yes. But, yeah, we look a little different now. But, yeah, I don't remember that. That's crazy. Yeah.
So we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to just go back a little bit in time when we were doing the Kalihi Palm Health Center plays. So
Itchy.
That's where I met Steph, is doing these It Can Happen to You plays, these educational road shows where we teach the high school kids about the dangers of getting STDs and teen pregnancy and whatnot.
To this day, I would say that thing scarred me. Like, I'm all about
you?
Like, not, well, you know, I mean, it's all about sex. I can you know, like, there's things out there, people. Like, you know, I mean, you think about, you know, sexually transmitted diseases. And that's what, you know, and I'm always that person, like, well.
Do you ever catch yourself, like, quoting any of the lines in there to
I used to
educate
do the
people?
monologue. Sexually transmitted diseases are scary. Some, like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, are curable. Other STDs, like genital warts, genital herpes, and HIV/AIDS, have no cure. If you have a sexually transmitted disease, you may experience symptoms like unusual discharge from the vagina or penis, bleeding from the vagina in between periods, burning or itching during sex, or peeing. See, now I can't remember it all, but I remember it that much.
Bravo.
Of it. Yeah. Wouldn't you be scarred? I'm surprised I'm not a nun. That's why I'm gay. Yeah. That's basically why I'm gay.
It's way less drama.
It's way less drama. That's what you notice too when you go to the doctor. Let me just tell you, if anyone needed to wonder, like you'll go there and they're like, "So are you on birth control?" No. And they'll stare at you. You're not. What? Like, no, I no. It's like, well, yeah, I was like, I'm gay. Oh, okay. Yeah. But it's like, it's the whole, like, well, are you having sex? I'm like, well, if I'm lucky. I try.
You offer?
I put it out there. I put it out there, but, we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. And I shake their hand. Yeah.
Well, for those who weren't privileged enough to see this play, and
I think we changed a lot of lives. I think a lot of teen pregnancies were stopped. I think a lot of chlamydia, the clap, stopped. We silenced it for at least a couple of years.
Well, see, the point of it is that these kids, were getting into all kinds of trouble, and instead of playing a old video in assembly where they would just go over statistics.
The horrors of sex. Dun, dun, dun. It was kind of like Blood on the Highway for like traffic school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead, we did this play that was a little more relatable. Where
we tried to be hip.
Right. But do you remember your character and the storyline behind it? Because I just recently told the whole story to Jamie, and her mouth was like dropped.
Yeah. I played Jackie, and you played Tommy.
Isn't it a crazy story? When you start to recount what it is and explain it to somebody now, isn't it kind of a wacky story? I mean, it worked, but it's kind of a crazy story, right?
I think it's a typical story of everyday life in high school. I think we nailed it.
Because the premise of it is there's two couples, essentially, two high school kids, or two high school couples. There's Tommy and Jackie, which me and Steph are Tommy and Jackie, and then there's Alex and Tia.
Alex and Tia,
right?
Yep.
And
then there was Melissa.
And there was
dun, dun,
Melissa.
Dun.
So Tia and Tommy were cousins.
I'm laughing so hard right now.
And the whole story is based on like the stresses of wanting to take their relationship to the next level and the do we do it and all that kind of stuff.
Do we do it? Which I think really happens so often. I mean, really, it's like, do we do it? That's like the main question in high school. Well, that and, trying to be liked.
Which is still kind of in the same vein of do we do it? Because maybe you do it to be liked, right?
Will you like me? I will do it with you if you like me.
But, so long story short, the story gets really convoluted where Alex and Tia are trying to decide if they can do it, and Alex just wants to hook up, and he ends up sleeping with Melissa.
It's like a telenovela.
Yeah.
It's like a telenovela, I tell you.
And, so Melissa gets an STD from Alex, who's been sleeping around.
Slut.
Then he sleeps with Tia, who then gets her pregnant. But then Jack and Tommy decide that they're going to wait.
We're like the angels of the show.
And it's so funny because we perform for some large...
All kinds of kids. And you know what? That was another thing that I loved about that show because, it was relatable for them. There was no other way to talk to these kids. And really, sex ed...
Yeah.
Let's get the least qualified person who doesn't want to speak about it. Because that's what happens. Like, you're like ducking a poing. Like, you get it. You're the coach. You're the health ed.
Yeah.
You have to teach them about sex. Like, what, why? I teach them about sports or, home ec. You teach them about sex. And it's what do you do? But this show was like, thank God these guys are here.
Yeah. So many of the teachers would come up and thank us afterwards.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's difficult. And you know these kids are wanting to have sex. And you got to teach them these things or else. And the thing is, the kids were so grateful. Mm-hmm. I remember at the end, we would always do question and answer. And they would ask the weirdest questions, but at the same time, they were really serious, and you just had to, like, answer them. And if you didn't know the answer, well, that's a good question. At the time, we had libraries. I'm sure we still have them now, instead of Google. But we would tell them, why don't you check out your local library? No. And now we'd be like, why don't you just Google that?
Yeah. But that was the problem, too, is that they were just asking each other and getting misinformation. Yeah.
And that was the thing. And it was like, I remember one kid, and it was at Olawana. And I don't know if you guys know what Olawana is. Olawana is the detention center for troubled children. And I remember the thing about this place is, I remember going there, and I remember them telling us, no spaghetti straps. Know what you're wearing when you go in there. And I was like thinking, oh my God. And I remember walking into that gymnasium, and these kids are wearing orange jumpsuits. Shit you not. They're wearing orange jumpsuits, and I'm freaking out, but I'm like, wow, wow.
It was to the point where they wouldn't allow us to, we used to have sometimes them fill out surveys, but they couldn't because we couldn't give them pens and pencils because they could be used as weapons.
So that's scary, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the show, these kids were the most awesomest, most attentive, most curious children. Like, they were children. That's the main thing. You have to remember that these are kids. And no matter what, their life, no matter what happened in their lives, no matter the hardships, they're still kids. So speaking to them, and they were so polite. And I don't know if that came out of respect because we related to them. I don't know. But these were great kids. Amazing kids. And I will always remember that. No matter where we went, no matter what troubled kids, no matter what home, no matter what school, these kids were curious and they weren't threatening. They're kids. And so, and it was always fun, they would always ask the weirdest question. Oh, miss, if a girl, and I was always miss.
Yeah.
I should always get used to that. And like, I'm in my 20s. I'm not really a miss. I guess so. Oh, miss, if a girl shaves, she can still get STDs. And I was like, they would ask you these questions and you would answer them like, oh, if a girl, the kind, waxes or whatever. Like, I remember these. And you're like, well, yeah, that doesn't protect them. It doesn't. And you would have to answer these questions. And it was okay, it was fine. Like, they would ask these questions seriously. Because if they asked their friend, they would get the wrong answer. Mm-hmm.
They probably got that idea from their friend.
Oh, yeah. If they were asked, wow, guarantee they're not going to get, like, pregnant or, like, any STDs. Guarantee, high five.
Yeah, drink Monster Energy drink before, you're good. Yeah, but and then you can imagine that they wouldn't feel comfortable asking these questions to their teachers, right?
Yeah, and we weren't their teachers.
Yeah.
We were, like, cool people who came in and, like, talked sex about them. And they were like, oh, okay, I can relate.
And I think the thing about it, too, is that the play didn't have us, we weren't talking down to them.
No.
We were just like, hey, guys, did you know this? Like, hey, you might want to be careful.
There were moments where they were like, this is lame. But it's lame. But at the end of it, they learned it. No, yeah, we did our job. And I think it's a very important program.
Yeah, how do you feel about knowing that it eventually shut down, and I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but I can't imagine that
I'd like to see the numbers. Mm-hmm. Because I remember being told that when our show went to schools and they would do they would test, they would see what's going on in the schools, and they would say, when you guys visit our school, these cases are down, whatever STDs are down, whatever teen pregnancies, they're down. I think it's important. And I remember getting into trouble too. Yeah. I remember getting into trouble with parents. This is not appropriate for my child. And I mean, some people might agree, but for me, it's like, it's appropriate when these children can make a child. Mm-hmm. And that child is going to have to be dependent on them and you and us as taxpayers. I think it's important when these kids can go out and have sex and, get some sort of disease and they not know about it and give it to somebody else and give it to, I think it's important.
And the other thing, too, is a lot of the complaints came from people who didn't see the show.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that, actually. People would complain about our show, like, oh, this sex education show is coming to our show.
Pornography.
Yeah. It's porn. I'm like, no, we're not showing sex. That's not what we're doing. And I remember that. And then they would come and see the show, and they would say, I'm okay, yeah, no, this is important, this is good, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember ever having like a parent or faculty member complaining after watching the whole show.
Nope.
It was always complaints from people who had heard about it or they had left midway through the show. Like we had students who walked out, right?
Yeah. If they left midway during the show, then sex was being had and everything is fine. And you're like, okay, great. There's no repercussions. Right. Like, well, you got to kind of have to watch the whole show.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that we can. I feel like there's room for maybe not necessarily that exact show, but something to use what's popular now, how people ingest information. But I think the key is being able to speak to the kids in a language that they
understand.
Right.
And I think there's so many people out there now that are doing these things, and I think that the kids really look up to them. They might not respect their parents and they might not want to listen to them and they might be angsty teenagers, but there is somebody who is teaching them now who they look up to. And I think that's what's important, is that they can relate to someone. I don't know.
I know we've been talking for quite a while, and
I'm about to hang out here and talk all day, loving it.
I feel like
Emmett and I are bonding right now. Nobody knows this, but Emmett is curled up next to me. I think he really likes me.
I think this is the first recording that he hasn't barked during. So you have quite the distinction.
Soothing voice.
Yeah.
I like to use on dogs and other animals. I am a bear trapper. My skills aren't used here a lot because there aren't very many bears here. But I do like to get out there and help wherever I can with a soothing voice.
Oh, but I honestly feel like we still have so many more subjects to talk about. I mean, we didn't even really get into all the things I actually wanted to talk to you about. Was all
crap. Sorry, my bad.
No. But that's what it is. I mean, we're just hanging out.
This is kind of my therapy session, people. So, and I don't even have to pay. I don't think. I don't even know. Is there validation? Is there parking validation? I don't know.
We'll talk about it after we stop the recording.
Serious?
Here.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do want to let you get to the rest of your life. But I would love to have you come back and do maybe a part 2 and
let's just do let's a Harry Potter 7 series. You know what I'm saying?
I'm down.
I don't even know what's gonna happen. I'll come back. Probably nothing.
Well, it seems like every other week you'll have a different adventure. But actually, before you go, I want to give everyone an opportunity to know about your show, because we talked about it. Your improv show, which is at Bar 35 every first. Or second and
it's
fourth
second and
Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday. I know it's if I could give you dates, but I do have to say that we're taking the show itself is taking a break for June, but we are hosting an improv group called Know Why in June, and they're going to be taking our second and fourth. So we'll be Shannon and I will be doing the. Oh gosh, I don't even know what date that is. It's July. It's June is second Tuesday, and then the fourth Tuesday is going to be Tina and Shannon, as I might not be here, but we will be back in July.
And Jamie and I got a chance to see the show, and it is fantastic. It's hilarious. But give a description of what exactly the show is, so that people can better understand what kind of show to expect when they go see it.
All right. Well, it's called Get Some. Whatever that means to you. Get some sex, get some drink, get some food, just get it.
Get some laughs.
Get some money, get some laughs. And that's basically what we're doing. We're downtown in that hip place. where homeless meets homeless meets yuppie.
Yeah.
You know, so you got that full on, I don't know, meth addict meets Hawaiian Telecom
right, exactly.
worker. You know what I'm saying? Bank of Hawaii worker. And I love that about downtown. It's just like, no matter what, like you'd be walking down the street, oh, someone's peeing. But also there's a business deal going down. So, and I think that's an important place to be. And here's the thing about that show is we're thinking of it on Tuesdays, you know, it's a great place to just kind of bring a date, make it a date show. We've got it's a short form comedy, short form improv, where we have all kinds of games that we play for you. Just think, whose line is it anyway? But, you know, with more boobs. I don't even think they had women on that show.
They would have one once in a while, but never more than one.
If she was lucky. Yeah, no. So it's all women, but at the same time, we got some humor. We need suggestions from the audience, and I think that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
We've kind of tweaked old games to make them new. I mean, if I were to tell you one game in particular that I love, it's called Tinder Moments.
Yeah, that was, when we saw that was the most we laughed all night.
There was some brutalness.
Describe what Tinder Moments is.
So I'm single, so I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. And so the way that you date now is you have to go on all these apps, and Tinder is one of those apps. And so we ask the audience member the worst thing that you've ever heard on a first date. And then we asked, we asked them for suggestions and stuff. And so we have what they've said on their first date. And then we start doing scenes. And, it's kind of crazy. And people are just, wow, the things you've heard on a first date.
Yeah.
Heller, check, please. Like, wow. And so it's kind of amazing, and I love it. And then we ask, we also do the whole swiping thing. We ask the audience if we should swipe left or swipe right. So it's kind of fun.
It's real interactive with the audience.
It is.
And it's funny because you and Tina were doing a scene. And so the idea is that you're on a first date in a scenario that we decided, and you guys are talking, and then all of a sudden you'll pick up one of these handwritten, first date horrible sayings. And Shannon kept asking, do you guys want to swipe left or swipe right? And we just kept wanting to continue.
It was like, this date is amazing.
This date would not end. It was just great. And
which is great, because sometimes it was like, would you want to swipe? And usually they're like, oh yeah, this date is horrible. Yeah. But people were like, I need to see this horribleness finish.
It was so funny. And the great part about it is that not only do we see that it's funny on stage, but then to know that somebody in the audience was the one that experienced that in real life. Oh, it was fantastic.
I think one of and the last line of the last one was, you're pretty fat for a short girl or something. And I was like, ooh.
And the worst part, because Tina's like maybe 4'11".
She is, and I had to say that to her. Yeah. She's 4'9", so fine. That's her whole thing. She's 4'9". And I had to say that to her. She's not chubby, but it was hilarious.
And then the lights go out, boom, scene, and that was just the perfect way to end it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We brought our friends that never knew any of the performers, and we just told them, like, come with us, trust us. We know these performers are going to be funny, and they loved it.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so happy they had fun. And that's the thing, like, with improv, and that's, like, and thankfully to Bar 35 and Roxy for letting us be there. Improv is just one of those things, and you will dive, and it will be a horrible dive, but you know what? Boom, you're on to the next thing, and there will be amazing moments.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing moments where you could not have planned, and you could not, and the audience knows this, and it's just like, oh my God, that was brilliant. Mm-hmm. And I think it's amazing. It's called Get Some. Please come out every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. You'll see our show in July, but come down in June to see our friends perform their show.
And if you go to Bar 35's website, they have all the information on it.
That is true.
And the best part of it all, I didn't even mention, is that it's free.
It is free.
Right.
It's free. Why? I don't want you to pay to come and see me. God, what if we sucked, but we don't? I just want to make sure that you know that we don't suck.
Perfectly clear.
Yeah, but it's free, and if you get there a little early, 4:30 to 6:30, they have free like wine tasting and pizza. And then when you come during our show, there's like $25. You get a whole pizza and either a whole bottle of wine or a pitcher.
Yeah, 60-ounce pitcher of beer. It's a really great deal, and the pizza there is really good.
So, I'm all about being a cheap date.
Yeah, so for Tuesday, you get 3-4 friends together, and that's for $25 amongst the 4 of you.
Yeah, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah,
and again, it's okay. So for those of you who work, because I work the next day, it does end at 9:30, so you're fine.
Yep.
You don't even have to worry. It may go a little longer or it may go a little shorter, depending. But yeah, it's like 9:30, so you're good. You're in, you're there, you're laughing, you go home, you dream about us, and you think, I'm going to bring my friends back.
And it's a Tuesday, so street parking is pretty available, so it's free parking. But even if not, the Chinese municipal lot right up the street is, I think we paid $250 or something, which is not bad for the whole night.
Yeah, because that could be something in Chinatown too. Yeah, people, they're parking. If I could, I would just take your car, drive them around until you're done. But
so aside from that, are there any other projects that you have coming up, or?
I don't know. Like not right now. There are things that are being made, and working on some local movies. But other than that, I'm just waiting for them to come out, and maybe we'll say more in the second part 2.
I look forward to that. But it's been great catching up with you, my dear sister.
This is so much fun. I don't even want to leave. Can I just put a desk here and I'll just hang?
Yeah, we'll put you right next to Emmett over here in the corner.
Nice, my bud.
All right, thanks, Steph.
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you again so much to Stephanie for coming through. My sister from another mister, Steph Sanchez. What an amazing interview, right? I mean, my gosh, I tell you, honestly, there's probably 2 more episodes that we can do with all of the rest of the stories that we still have yet to unearth. So I look forward to having Stephanie back on hanging out with Nolan Hong here again. And so hope you enjoyed this episode. And hey, big thank you to our sponsor, Monster Energy Drink. My friends Jimmy Nakamura over there hooked us up and so kept us fueled and ready for podcasting. If you liked what you heard, we really could use your support. And if you could share this and tell your friends about it, if you could write a review and like us on Apple iTunes and all that good stuff, we really appreciate it. And we just want to make sure that we continue to entertain you and give you the best podcast ever. So tune in next week. We're going to have another episode, as this, again, is going to be a weekly podcast. And thanks for tuning in. For my co-host, Dr. Emmett Bean, and my super producer extraordinaire, Jamie, I'm Nolan Hong. Thank you for tuning in. And these aren't the droids you're looking for.